Welcome to today's daily antidote of song. So glad you've all joined us today. Happy Sunday. And we are actually going to be singing today with the fabulous Dr. Kim Harris, who has so kindly stepped in place of Kamya Arsani, who tested positive for COVID this morning and is feeling terribly. So can we all please take a moment to send a lot of love right now to Kamyar. Kamyar, here are some nice healing vibes for you. We do hope you feel better so soon, and we can't wait to sing with you whenever that is. And so today's song is going out to Kamyar, and I just want to welcome everybody. Today is day 1,300 and something, which maybe somebody will cue me about, and we're so glad you've joined us in the daily antidote of song. I will just throw out a couple of things. Make sure you check the chat today. We're going to have a few things in there. We'll have something about our beautiful birthday present that we made for Sweet Honey in the Rock, 50 years and 50 songs that they sang in the Daily Antidote of Song on a playlist on YouTube. It's so much fun. And also want to remind you all that we have, whoops, wait 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay, I also want to remind you all that we have a anti-racist journey corner in our newsletter now. It's content for a week to delve into and give some good thought to where we all are as anti-racists, and this is a very anti-racist space. And so please check out the content in the newsletter, and it will also be in the chat today. And finally, we now have an Instagram, which is kind of a new and exciting thing. 4 whole posts on it, because we're just getting it started. But please check out and follow us on Instagram. We'd love to have you there too. So everybody take a deep breath. Exactly. So we have Dr. Kim graciously joining us, but she does have to go to church today, very shortly after she finishes with us in here. So we're going to zip through some hellos and turn it over to Kim for some beautiful singing. So a thank you to Aaron in Brooklyn for running our tech today, and Dr. Kim coming in from California today, Philadelphia today.
Philadelphia today. I fly to California later today.
Woo! She is the traveling woman right now. Mabel and the Bears coming in from Mass. Glad to have you. Dally in Maryland. Hello. Aloysius in Massachusetts. Julie in Ontario. Cricket in Maryland. Sheila in North Florida. Susan in Cincinnati. Nice to see you. Kathy in Colorado. Kevin Ennis coming in from New Hampshire. Sue Miller in Seattle. Bob in Albany, Annette in California, Nancy's Irish Cow in Washington State, Amanda and Miles coming in from Michigan, Sarah in Texas, David and Elsie coming in from Oakland, hello and hello, Ann in Silver Spring, Dawn and the Curly Tops, which is actually Willard and the Willard, Becky in Vancouver, Bonnie in Boise, Idaho, Linda in Orcas Island, there's Kate Galloway coming in from Charlottesville and with somebody over her shoulder, hello somebody, nice to have you also here today. And Jen coming in off camera, Lynn in Connecticut, Bronwyn in Victoria, Hoda in British Columbia, Sandy, Western North Carolina, Elizabeth, California, Kay in Texas, Fred in Silver Spring, Isabel in Florida, and I think we got everybody. Bronwyn, did I say? All right, everybody take a deep breath. All right, we're going to pop it right over to Dr. Kim Harris, amazing, amazing song leader and anti-racist activist and amazing human being who brings so much content and history into this room. So, Kim, we're super excited to hear what you've got today.
Hi, and thanks for sending me a last-minute message. Always great to be able to fill in when I can help out. So wait a minute, now we're sending out those good healing vibes again to
Kamyar Arsani. He is an Iranian musician, and he's sung with us maybe like, I don't know, a dozen times, half a dozen times. And we are looking forward to having him when he's back on his feet.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Well, today it's very interesting as I was getting ready for church. At my church today, we're talking about Imbolc. Very interesting holiday that I didn't know much about before, but I'll tell you a little bit about that after the song, because the song for Imbolc, which is also St. Bridget's Day, which is February 1st, but it made me think of a wise, wild, wonderful woman. And when I think of a wise, wild, wonderful woman, who comes to mind for me is Sojourner Truth. Yes, indeed. Sojourner Truth. So I'm going to sing about Sojourner Truth today, and you have a part. Some of you know the whole song, but if you don't know the whole song, you can always sing, "Ain't I a woman?" So I'll say that, and then you say, Ain't I a woman? So, ready? Here we go. Well, that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages, lifted over ditches, and given the best place everywhere. Well, nobody ever helps me into carriages, over mud puddles, or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Look at me, look at my arms. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Now I can work as much and eat as much as any man when I could get it. I had to bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Now I have borne 13 children and seen most all of them sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with a mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Now that man over there says that women can't have the same rights as a man, 'cause Christ wasn't a woman. He says Christ wasn't a woman. Well, where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. And man didn't have nothing to do with it. Ain't I a woman? Sojourner Truth. Now, that speech from Sojourner Truth was actually adapted by the wonderful Priscilla Heardman. Now, I don't know, have you had her sing on the Daily Antidote of Song? Oh, yes. So, Priscilla Heardman. It's fantastic. And I'm so glad that she adapted that. And that speech was originally given in 1851 at the Women's Convention in Akron, Ohio. Now, just so you can hear a little bit of the original speech, Sojourner Truth says, "Well, children, there's so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights, and white men will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? That man over there says women need to be helped into carriages, lifted over ditches, and have the best place everywhere. Well, nobody ever helps me into carriages over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me, look at my arms. Yeah, I plowed and planted, gathered into barns. No man could head me, and ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as any man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children, seen most all sold off in slavery, and when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me, and ain't I a woman?" Then they talk about this thing in the head. What's that they call it? And at that point the audience whispers, "Intellect, intellect." And Sojourner says, "That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights or Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint, and yours holds a quart, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure full?" Now there's a little man in black over there. She was talking about a preacher of some kind. He says women can't have as much rights as a man because Christ wasn't a woman. Well, where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. And man had nothing to do with him. Now, if the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, These women together ought to be able to turn it back, get it right side up again. And now that's what they is asking to do. And the men better let it. Okay to you, thanks for hearing me. Now old Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say. That speech is just amazing. I love that speech. Yes, 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 yes. Sojourner truth.
Everybody, please thank you so much, Kim Harris. That was just remarkable. And Kim, I love the way that you can enter into the song and the character and just give so much like extra depth to a song by bringing us into also sort of the history and the context and the humanity and the songwriter, the song speaker. Totally amazing. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
What else do you want to share today about the things that are going on in your church?
Well, like I said, at Church in Ocean Park, and we're back, in person, but they're also online. Church of Ocean Park in Santa Monica, California. So of course, out there it'll be 10:15, but here it'll be 1:15. And today we are talking about Imbach, about St. Bridget's Day. It's really this great, amazing, eclectic kind of church. So and St. Bridget's Day is that traditional Gaelic festival held usually on February 1st, about halfway between winter solstice and spring equinox. And then next week, I'm doing a lot of flying this week. I'll be back on the East Coast. Next week, I will be in New York City. And do you mind if I share my screen for just a second or two?
Sure. Yep. Hang on one second. I just have to set it for you. Okay.
All right. So I should be able to share my screen for this because next week, as I get to do every year, is the annual Black History Month Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral. And I sing for that as well. And it is a national day of prayer for the African and African American family. Oh boy, bless our families and heal our land. Well, there are a lot of places that need some healing. Absolutely. So that's at St. Patrick's, February 4th, 2 p.m. And of course, it will be live streamed too. So you can check that out. And I know there's so many people here, and I totally love it that there's so many people from all over the world that come to the daily Antidote of Song. So that's what's going on with me. And in between that, I'll be back teaching my classes on liberating theologies. And I got to tell you, Sojourner Truth, she's got a liberating theology going on right there. So I totally love that. So now, what were those things you were talking about, JoJo? You've got some great things coming up. Instagram?
So, yep. So we've just started, we made an Instagram account and now we're really using it. So for folks who are on Instagram, they can find us there now. And just another method of communicating. And the other thing is our anti-racist journey corner in the e-news. We've talked about this a bit in the room, but we've started a project where every week we're putting content into the e-news for folks to sort of journey into, sort of deepen our understanding, grow to be better anti-racists every day. So we encourage folks to go there, and those links are also in the chat and in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube. And I don't even remember what else I said. I said something else.
No, I said some great things, and I totally love it that as the years go on, right? We're growing, we're changing, we're doing all kinds of amazing things. And yes, I see a few questions in the chat. Imbach is traditionally February the 1st, which of course is right at the beginning of Black History Month. So that's what got me thinking about Sojourner Truth. But, it's amazing. I always say to my students, when you look at the way things are celebrated, so much has to do with the cycles of the sun, the cycles of the moon, right? And the earth, and how the earth comes back to life. And even here in Philadelphia, today it's a rainy, rainy day, but you can almost feel the beginnings of spring a little bit. And certainly in Southern California, when I'm out there, you're starting to feel a little bit of that. Now, I'm not going to get crazy because it could still snow up here in Philly. But still, the earth is truly amazing. So, all right. So I'm going to sing Sojourner Truth.
Can we sing this one also for your mommy who's over there in your universe with you? So we're sending this.
And she is a wise, wild, wonderful woman.
You know that. Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, maybe later in the month, I'll get her to sing that song for us because she wrote a song about wise, wild, wonderful women. All right, so are you ready? Sojourner Truth. Well, that man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages, lifted over ditches, and given the best place everywhere. Well, nobody ever helps me into carriages, over mud puddles, or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Come on. Ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arms. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as any man when I could get it. I had to bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all of them sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with a mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Ain't I a woman? Now that man over there says that women can't have the same rights as a man, 'cause Christ wasn't a woman. Repeat that. Christ wasn't a woman. Well, where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. And man didn't have nothing to do with it. Sojourner Truth. Definitely a wise, wild, and wonderful woman. And thanks everybody for singing with me today, for sure.
Thank you, Dr. Kim Harris, for jumping in and singing with us today and keeping our everyday one song moving right along. We really appreciate your being here. We know you have to go and get your own church service going, so can we please all say thank you to Dr. Kim? Thank you is 2 hands, and goodbye, Dr. Kim is 1 hand.
Bye-bye. All right. Bye-bye. I'll see you later on in February sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye to everybody in the room today. We can't wait to see you all tomorrow for the start of another week here in the Daily Antidote of Song. Thanks so much for joining us. Love and hugs to everybody out there on the live stream. Thanks for being here with us today. And some quick goodbyes here. Thank you to Aaron coming in from Brooklyn for running our tech today. Bob and Mabel and the Bears coming in from Cambridge, Mass. Thanks for being here. Deli in Maryland, thank you. Julie in Ontario, thank you. Cricket in Maryland, thank you. Sheila in North Florida, thank you. Susan G in Cincinnati, thank you very much for being here. Sue Miller in Seattle, thank you. Bob in Albany, thank you. Annette in California, thank you. Miles and Amanda, thank you and thank you. Sarah in Texas, thanks for being here. Nice to see your smile. David and Elsie coming in from Oakland, glad to see you both today. Becky in Vancouver, thank you so much for being here. Deborah in Kentucky, glad to see you popped in. Bonnie in Boise, Idaho, lots of love to you. Linda on Orcas Island, love and hugs to you as well. Fred in Silver Spring, lovely to see you here today. Hugs and love. Ann in Silver Spring, thank you so much. We're glad you're here. Little Dawn and the Curly Tops, it's actually 2 small people, no big people. Willard and Alice May, glad to have you here today. Ruth and Clive popped in from Birmingham, UK, glad to see you both, glad you're together. Aloysius in Massachusetts, thank you. Kathy in Colorado, thank you. And Nancy in Washington State, thank you. Kevin Ennis, lots of love to you. Can't see you at this moment, but Kevin's reminding me we are day 1,393. Thank you so much, Kevin. Lots of love to you. And the folks who are off video today, Jen, Lynn in Connecticut, Hoda in British Columbia, Sandy in Western North Carolina, Elizabeth in California, Kat in Vermont, Jane in Texas, and Jane in Maryland, and Jamie coming in from British Columbia. Thanks so much, gang. Lots of love again to everybody out there on the live stream. See you all tomorrow.